One of the biggest social movements currently taking place in the United States right now is the LGBT, or lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender rights movement. After years of discrimination from mainstream society, people of various sexual orientations are fighting discrimination and seeking marriage rights. The American gay rights movement dates back to 1924, when the Society for Human Rights became country's first gay organization. However, it was not until the 1960s that the movement began to make any real progress. In 1962, Illinois became the first U.S. state to decriminalize private homosexual acts between consenting adults. And the civil rights movement and anti-Vietnam War protests of the 60s left many gay activists with the desire to create an organized movement. In 1969, the Stonewall riots transformed the movement from the struggle of a few isolated activists to a collective, wide-scale effort. Immediately after Stonewall, a few radical groups were formed. These began fighting against the American Psychiatric Society's classification of gay as a disease, and in 1973 the association removed homosexuality from its official list of mental disorders. At this time, many LGBTs decided to come out, rejecting the old idea of homosexuality as a source of shame. More victories for the LGBT movement came in the 90s. In 1993, the U.S. military instituted the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, allowing gay people to serve in the military but prohibiting homosexual activity. In 2000, the state of Vermont became the first to permit civil unions between gay and lesbian couples, granting them the same civil rights and benefits as married people, yet refusing to call these unions by the name of marriage, which the state has defined as a union between a man and a woman. Since then, such civil unions have become legal in various states across the country. Currently, the movement has also made gains in securing legislation against workplace discrimination.
Hey, do you guys know what the first gay rights organization was?
Yeah, in 1951, the Mattachine Society, which was formed by Henry Hay, was the first national gay rights organization.
No, in 1924, Society for Human Rights was the first gay rights organization in America, founded by Henry Gerber in Chicago. Thank you. Gerber was inspired by the Scientific Humanitarian Committee and decided to form his own organization whose goals were to promote and protect the interests of people who are abused for their mental and physical differences. The Society's newsletter, Friendship and Freedom, was the first newsletter directed toward homosexuals in the U.S. The Society for Human Rights members consisted of the poor gay men, which meant it was unable to get any financial support. The final blow for the society came when bisexuals were excluded and Gerber was accused of performing inappropriate acts in front of children.
The Mattachine Society focused on educating the public about homosexuality and helping gays deal with the homosexual-related problems. The society became a leader in the gay rights movement and instituted a counseling service for gays. The society disbanded in 1987 due to bankruptcy and argument within the society.
In 1956, the Daughters of Bilitis was the first lesbian rights organization in the U.S., formed in San Francisco in 1955. They focused on supporting women who were afraid to come out.
In 1962, Illinois decriminalized homosexual acts between consenting adults in private.
On June 27, 1969, police raided a gay bar in New York's Greenwich Village. This became a turning point in LGBT history when people began to fight back. The customers began rioting and shouting "Gay Power," which caused hundreds of gays, lesbians, and minorities to join in the riot. Gay Liberation Front was born from the Stonewall riots, and although it no longer exists, gay power remains strong.
In 1982, Wisconsin outlaws the discrimination of sexual orientation.
In 1993, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy was policy formed in the military, which permitted gays to serve in the military as long as there was no homosexual activity or talk of homosexual relationships.
In 1996, in Romer versus Evans, the Supreme Court strikes down Colorado's Amendment Number 2, which denied gays and lesbians protections against discrimination. In 2003, the U.S. Supreme Court rules in Lawrence versus Texas that sodomy laws in the U.S. are unconstitutional. Justice Anthony Kennedy wrote, "Liberty presumes an autonomy of self that includes freedom of thought, belief, expression, and certain intimate conduct." In November, the Massachusetts Chief Justice concluded that to deny the protections, benefits, and obligations conferred by civil marriage to gay couples was unconstitutional because it denied the dignity and equality of all individuals and made them second-class citizens.
On May 17th, in 2004, same-sex marriages became legal in Massachusetts.
In October 2005, civil unions became legal in Connecticut.
In December 2006, civil unions became legal in New Jersey. 2009, on April 3rd, the Iowa Supreme Court unanimously rejects the state law banning same-sex marriage. 21 days later, county recorders are required to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. On April 7th, the Vermont legislature votes for override government Jim Douglas' veto of a bill allowing gays and lesbians marry, legalizing same-sex marriage. It is the first state to legalize gay marriage, though the legislature, the courts of the other states in which the marriage is legal, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Iowa gave approval. On May 6th, the governor of Maine legalized same-sex marriage in that state in Maine. The law stipulates that religious organizations and their employees will not be required to participate in the ceremonies. New Hampshire is the sixth in the nation to allow same-sex marriage. On June 17, President Obama signs a referendum allowing the same-sex partners, federal employees, to receive benefits. They will not be allowed full health coverage, however. This is Obama's first major initiative in his campaign promise to improve gay rights.
Hey, over here!
On March 3rd, Congress approves a law signed in December 2009 that legalizes same-sex marriage in the District of Columbia. On August 4th, Chief U.S. District Judge Vaughn Walker ruled that Proposition 8, the 2008 referendum that banned same-sex marriage in California, violates the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause.
Here are some important cases in LGBT history. Bayer versus Mike in 1996 was the Hawaiian Supreme Court ruled that excluding same-sex couples from marriage was unconstitutional. Baker versus Vermont in 1999, the Supreme Court of Vermont unanimously ruled that prohibiting same-sex marriage was against the state's constitution.
Frick versus Lynch in 1980, a student from Cumberland, Rhode Island, sued his principal, Richard Lynch, for preventing Frick from bringing a same-sex date to his prom. The judge ruled that student must be allowed to bring dates of the same sex and that schools must provide security to prevent LGBT harassment.
In Benitez versus North Coast Women's Care Medical Group in 2008, was a case centered on a lesbian Californian resident who sued her doctors for stating that their individual religious beliefs couldn't support LGBT people's being parents.
Members of the LGBT community are still facing discrimination and abuse from many people they come in contact with. Although more attention is being drawn to the LGBT struggle every day, one advance for the LGBTs is the repeal of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy.
On December 22nd, 2010, Obama signed into law the Don't Ask, Don't Tell Repeal Act, and it allows gay men and women to openly serve in the military. As for gay marriage, many people have different opinions on whether it should be legalized. While some states have legalized same-sex marriage, most do not. I wonder if there's a chart around here somewhere.
Wait, I have a map.
Gay pride marches have been occurring around the world since 1969, when Craig Rodwell proposed the first gay pride parade in New York.
Many of these pride parades have a feel of Mardi Gras, complete with floats, confetti, and drag queens. The point of these parades is to celebrate one's sexuality and to show your pride and support. The mentality is that diversity is good and that one's sexual orientation should be a source of pride rather than shame.
Although there are many who are still against gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender rights, the movement has made great progress and continues to change others' views of the LGBT community. LGBT Pride!
There's a fire
And minorities to join in the pride.
Awkward. Hey.
The Supreme Court of Vermont unanimously
It made them second-class citizens. Follow the rules.
I messed up.
Sodomy laws in the U.S. I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting sodomy.
No one expects sodomy.
fever, is bringing me out the dark.